Nothing Personal starts in 30 seconds. It's just business. This is Nothing Personal.
Here you go. Here you go.
Brilliant. That's the Nothing Personal word of the day for Friday, May 16th, 2025. And I'm going to man gush on Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. I have to start it. It's a bizarre way to start a show, especially a Friday show that's packed heading into a weekend, especially on the eve of quite a big Knick game that's happening in New York, the Subway Series, lots of excitement in this city. And my focus was on emotions because I don't get emotional too often. And I think there are two things that are going to happen in this show that are going to get me. Not that I'm planning them, because I'd like to remain calm on this particular Friday. But watching Jokic last night as the Nuggets won Game 6, 119-107, my emotion was not that, hey, we won our pick of the day. That wasn't it. My emotion was not, all right, we get a Game 7 on Sunday, and it happens to fit in with my weekend graduation schedule. I've got two kids graduating this weekend, one from college, one getting a doctorate. And so I'm maneuvering times and I'm doing some other shows. So I'm trying, it's like a puzzle. Game 7 of Nuggets Thunder is going to be 3:30 on Sunday. And I believe that window works. But I'm watching the game last night and a play happened and I didn't know who to reach out to. I tried Coca. Are you watching? A few friends, a few people I work with who may be friends or may not be, depending on whether the red light is on. Hey, are you watching? Did you see that play? I want to just talk about it because when you are evaluating talent, there are several boxes that you're looking for. You're looking for, in baseball, projection. You're looking for physicality. You're looking at parents. You're looking at smarts. You're looking at, can you project power? Can you project speed? What does it look like? Can you project velocity in the arm? In basketball, you are doing similar things, except it's a little easier. And I'm not trying to impugn basketball scouts because it's not easy. And yes, I enjoy the air up there just like anybody else. But it's not like you walk into a room and say, hey, the tallest person, if your name is Josh Price, you make the team. And hey, it's shortest person, if your name is David Samson, you don't. All right, my scouting's done. Yeah, that's what my 9th grade basketball coach did, cutting me just because I was short. So when you're scouting in basketball, you're trying to figure out what are we getting here? So you could go back and look at family photos of Jokic when he was a kid, and you say to yourself, oh, I'm not sure I project this guy to turn into the best basketball player on the planet and potentially the best basketball player ever. Basketball player, all in. If you're watching this on the Nothing Personal with David Samson YouTube channel, you're seeing a picture of Jokic as a kid. And trust me when I tell you, he looks more like the catcher of the Bad News Bears, if you know, you know, than he does someone who's going to grow into this sort of 3-time MVP, world champion basketball player. What we cannot see from any photos or project properly is the IQ. We try to find it with 16-year-old baseball players, or we even look at them in college. When we're signing free agents, we're looking for smart. Jokic did a play last night, and I want to set it up for you because it's something that I hadn't really focused on before or seen before. The Nuggets were on their offensive end, and they were running a play, which they do through Jokic, and a pass got away, and Jokic basically let the ball go into the backcourt. And so it was going to be a backcourt violation. Once you're across midcourt, you can't go back or else it's a turnover. So when the ball goes over the midcourt line toward the other team's basket, only two things can happen. If the team on offense touches the ball, turnover. If the team on defense touches the ball, it's their ball, and they can then proceed to their hoop on the offensive side and score. What Jokic did when the ball went over half court is he ran toward the ball that was rolling on the ground. It wasn't an in-the-air pass. It was literally rolling on the ground. And what he did is he used his body to shield the Oklahoma City Thunder player who was trying to get the ball. And he let the ball roll and roll. And the Nuggets were trying to run out the clock. There was about 5 minutes left in the game. They had a lead. You want to run clock time. So not only does he let the ball roll in order to take the maximum amount of time off the clock, which is a great move, but then as the ball was ready to go out of bounds on the other side of the court's end line, so right under the Thunder basket, he picks up the ball right as it's about to go out of bounds, and the referee blows the whistle and calls the backcourt violation, because that's what it was. No one had touched the ball since the ball went over the midcourt line. And by doing that, it is a turnover, but Oklahoma City gets the ball way back in the backcourt, meaning where the Nuggets basket is. If Jokic had let the ball roll out of bounds, then the Thunder would have gotten the ball where the ball went out of bounds, which would have been right under the Thunder basket. It showed a level of brilliance in basketball IQ. And I'm geeking out over here, and I get it. I get that many of you are probably saying, David, come on. I've seen everybody make that play. No, you haven't. David, this doesn't even interest me. Yes, it should. Because when you can combine the physical attributes of Jokic and the brilliant mind of Jokic, this is what happens. You get greatness. Don't you want to appreciate it? Don't you look at a beautiful piece of art, or don't you look at a beautifully written book or poem, or a beautifully acted play or movie or part, or something where you're in a meeting with your boss? I know you don't want to admit that, or with somebody else's boss, and you just say, God, that person is smart. I don't know. I love that. It's going to be an interesting game on Sunday. In order for the Nuggets to have won last night, yes, they got a great game from Jokic and Murray and Braun. Murray tried to do the Jordan game, tried to do the sick game. Can you imagine the idiocy where people were saying, oh, Murray may not play. He's questionable. He's on the injury report for sickness. You don't know Murray. The chances of him not playing last night, 0.0. Do you know what we do for sick players, Coca? Side note. During the course of a season, of course, there are sick people. Everyone gets sick. I get sick twice a year. Does anyone else monitor when they're sick? I keep track of it. I put it on my calendar so I can search sick, so I can know the last time I was sick, and then I mark it down. Now, the definition of sick, Coca, it's not just, oh, I don't feel great. That would be a Tuesday. It's when you cannot get out of bed. Sore throat, chills, aches, and it's sustained. So the last time that I was sick, just FYI, was Monday, December 23rd, all the way to Saturday, December 28th. That was a bad stretch, and I have not been sick since then. So it's coming twice a year. Why was I talking about being sick? Oh, because Murray, here's what we do with players in the clubhouse. So we may give them some stuff. Just saying, it's not illegal stuff, but we may give them some fluids that will make them feel just good enough to play. We may give them some medicine that will work in a way that all of the aches will go away. The sore throat will be push wide open. You'll feel so good. Now, the downside is when the game's over and it wears off, you feel like crap because you had physical exertion when you were sick, and the adrenaline gets you through it, plus the other goodies, and then until you do it again the next day, and eventually you start feeling better. So, of course, Murray was going to play. It wasn't the Jordan sick game, but Murray played fine. They had a bench player named Julian Strother. I'm going to give him his, what's it called, Coca? To give someone their flowers. That is a weird expression. I don't know why that's the expression. That feels like an inappropriate thing to say. when someone is on stage, you give them flowers. That is true, Coca. But okay. So where my head went was the opposite of flower, but here we go. So Julian Strother, he scored 15 points in 20 minutes off the bench, and he provided this sort of spark where he hits a 3 or 2 after no one could score, and all of a sudden he hits a offensive rebound, a putback, and people are just shocked at what he's doing, and he's all pumped up. The bench is pumped up because it's one of their own making a serious contribution to the game, and the Thunder were just playing terribly. They couldn't hit a shot for like 20 minutes. They went 0 for 13 straight during the second half, couldn't hit a 3 until Caruso did. They were fouling the Nuggets all over the place. Yada, yada, yada. It's another game 7 for the Nuggets, and the Nuggets are veteran game 7ers. The Thunder are not. The last game 7 and the only game 7 that SGA has played was in the bubble in Orlando back in COVID. Game 7 is a weird thing. You've seen it. You've seen Indiana go into the Garden and win a game 7. You've seen the Mavericks lose by 50, win by 40. I think there's been a lot of blowouts, home team, road team upsets, crazy stuff. The line right now is a touchdown. I wonder which way we should go there. This will be the 7th game 7 for Jokic. But their first one on the road. Is that possible, Coca, that I'm reading for the first time? Is it really true that this is their first game 7 on the road? Hell yeah. There is nothing better than winning a game 7 on the road. Spoiler alert, I may go this direction. How could you pick against Jokic by any stretch as good as OKC is? I don't know how you can do it. As a matter of fact, let's not waste any more time. Let's go right to the nothing personal pick of the day, where last night we had the Nuggets plus 4.5. To me, that seemed like an easy one. I'm not sure why it was only minus 105. I would have given more juice on that. Nuggets were getting 4.5 points on their home court. And by the way, the line moved to 5.5, I believe was the end line, Coca. And for us, it was a easy win. Not that there's any easy win, but we are 59-61. Let's talk about tonight's game 6. All right, I'm going to do something I used to do when I was young and in love with the Knicks. I would stretch. I'd wear my Knicks shirt. I had a Knicks towel, an actual towel from the bench. Look at me, David. And I would drape the towel over me like Jerry frickin' Tarkanian, putting it in my mouth, having it over my shoulders. I would do push-ups and sit-ups to stretch and pretend that I was stretching. This is when I'm 16 years old in 1984, going into a game 7 against the Celtics. We lost that game 7. Larry Bird, Mikhail Parrish. It was a disaster. We had just beaten the Pistons in 5 games, and I thought we were going to finally do it. Memories of the way it used to feel. I'm not even nervous about tonight's game 6 because the Knicks haven't clinched a series at home since 1999. That's the last time they were able to show. And Garden's going to be insane. It's going to be facial recognition territory. Of course, on the broadcast, you're going to see the celebrities. There's going to be all sorts of excitement. Explain to me why it's the Knicks minus 2.5 only. Explain to me where that line comes from. I'm just sort of trying to figure out how that works. Why isn't the line bigger? The Celtics without Jason Tatum, for those of you who are going to argue the Celtics are a better team without Jason Tatum, it is preposterous. Do not allow yourself to feel that way, no matter what you are or who you are or how you cheer. You're never better without your best player. You can be better for a moment. You can be better for a game. You can be better for an at-bat. You can't be better over a long period of time. The good news for the Celtics, this is a super short period of time. And with the line only being 2.5, my spidey senses went off. This seems like, and I don't know what that means. Coca's whispering to me, reverse mush. I've never heard that expression before, Coca, so I don't know what it means. Oh, and it's a mush. Well, that's good. Still don't know what it means. Wouldn't it be great to hear directly from Coca one of these days all the stuff that he just says in my ear, just to have some sort of microphone and camera where we could learn from him and we could take away some of the mystery and some of the distraction of all the yelling and the typing, all the stuff I get wrong. The reverse mush of the century. We're taking the Celtics plus 2.5. I guess that's what it means. Have no idea. Why are we taking the Celtics for our pick of the day? Because it seems too good to be true to only have to give 2.5 for the Knicks. Therefore, I'm taking the points. Tomorrow is a big day for the Dodgers. Did you see what happened yesterday at Chavez Ravine? This is a message to all the people in LA, and there's about 4% of you, so thank you. I just would like to point out, reading the not so fine print, when you're going to a baseball game for a giveaway and the Dodgers tell you that there will be a giveaway for every person at the game, it's not the first 5,000, the first 20,000, the first 40,000. It's every single member who has a ticket gets an Ohtani 50-50 bobblehead. Why are you lining up 4 hours before the game to get in? Is it because you don't get the information? Do you have that much time to spend, to waste? You can pull in the fourth inning, my dear Watson, and you still get the bobblehead. Ohtani is a absolute king of taking moments in and making them his own, because that's how great he is. He had 2 home runs on his own bobblehead day again, and the Dodgers crushed the Aths, and I mean crushed. I think the final score was 19-1 or 19-2. But the game tomorrow night with the Dodgers, guess what? We're starting the Subway Series tomorrow night. That's true. Tonight, I mean. We're starting it's Rivals weekend. So the Dodgers are playing the Angels. Not much of a rivalry. Guess who's pitching for the Dodgers? Clayton frickin' Kershaw. It's pretty early for him to be back on May 16th, given that they want to see if he can be healthy in October. I don't remember when he debuted last year, Coca, but if you could maybe tell me that. My guess is he debuted after June, and he also didn't make it to October. That's my recollection, but it's a year ago, so I could be wrong. But having him debut this early and thinking that he started July 25th last year. Coca, did he pitch in October? He made it to August 30th. Oy vey. That's a month and 5 days. And I think, didn't he get like 7 large for that? What a pension plan Kershaw has from the Dodgers. I mean, he's the unique player in that way, and that he's a Dodger for life. He's first ballot Hall of Famer. He threatens to go to Texas every year, but he never will. The Dodgers are going to keep giving him money until he literally says, I don't want money anymore. And he may be the type who says, hey, why? You're going to give me $7 million? I'll take it till I'm 50. Pitching 1 month for $5 million bucks. I don't know what the number is, but pretend it's $5 million. That's a $30 million player. Clayton Kershaw. What a great name. Hall of Famer. He's now a number 8 starter at best. At best. The thing about the Dodgers is they're very sentimental. The Dodgers are going to win one for the Gipper. We're taking Kershaw and the Dodgers over the Angels. Then Sunday, it's Game 7. Nuggets +7 versus the Thunder. Let me give you my philosophy. You're going to say to yourself, Jokic would rather be home with his family. And you'd be right. Jokic would be perfectly fine if the Nuggets lost. He'd fly home the next day, and he'd be back for preseason. All of that is true. The thing is, what you're undervaluing is that Jokic wants to prove that the coaching change that was made was for the best. That David Adelman taking over for Mike Malone was the move that made the most sense, and the only way to gauge whether that's true is by being successful in the playoffs. You cannot be eliminated in the second round. It means the team took a step backwards. Now, is Adelman responsible? He's been coaching for 2 weeks. Is he responsible? No. But that's why Jokic said, hey, NBA Finals start June 5th, play till June 20th. It's another month. I got another month, no problem. I think the Nuggets actually win this game straight up. But we're getting 7 points, so we're going to take the 7 points on the theory. If it's a close game, we're going to be a winner either way. And a blowout, I just don't think the Nuggets will allow themselves to get blown out. and Murray has time to feel better. That's a callback to earlier in the show. He doesn't need time to feel better. They'll make him feel better. Let's talk about the Subway Series, because people in New York, for whatever reason, Coca, they're all super excited about this weekend of sports. So the Mets are going to New York to play the Yankees. So obviously there's a ton of attention on this. And were it not for the Knicks playing tonight at home, the real focus would be in the Bronx. It almost feels like if you go to the Bronx tonight, it's like the Booby Prize, because the Garden is where it's at, no matter whether you're a big baseball fan versus a basketball fan. It just seems that a clinching game against the Celtics versus a regular season game against the Mets, that's no comparison. However, it's the first game back for Soto. That would be interesting, except Soto spent a year with the Yankees. If Soto were if Jeter had gone to the Mets and then returned to play in Yankee Stadium, that's big. Soto, I don't know. And he's preparing us like it's going to be major. He did a quote, Coca. He said it's going to be 50,000 against 1. They're going to try to get on me. You know, it's part of it. Whatever they do, they have the right to do it. I'm just going to go out there and do my stuff. I'm just going to try to focus on my game. All right? What does that mean? Can we dig into the whole Juan Soto situation a little bit? Juan Soto, who for some reason people are saying, did he really take the Mets only because of the money? Yeah. Well, we thought the Yankees were offering somewhat close. You sure? Juan Soto himself was very clear. He gave a list to Steve Cohen and to Hal Steinbrenner. Steve Cohen said yes to everything. Juan Soto was a Met. There was no loyalty to the Yankees. He didn't care. There was no love between the teammates. Juan Soto wasn't the most popular Yankee where the Yankees say, oh my God, we can't continue. We're devastated to have lost him. You got the wrong player, folks. Now, Juan Soto's skills are off the charts. But think about that quote. I did it at David P. Samson on X, and people misunderstood it. What he should have said, it's going to be 50,000 against 26, meaning him and all of his teammates. But Juan Soto is famous for saying it's going to be 50,000 against 1, because that tracks perfectly. Juan Soto is not exactly the glue of a clubhouse. Now people can say poo-poo, and there'll be agents who would tell you that, and there are certain players who would not want this sort of laundry laundered, but there is clear and convincing proof that I have. Just because I've been in the game. I'm not a journalist. This is not me as a journalist. I don't have a scoop for you. I can just tell you, no love lost when he leaves the Padres, when he leaves the Yankees, when he leaves the Nationals. I'm not yucking on his skills. Are we clear on that fact? I'm merely saying that selfish players who want their money, who want their stuff, who want to be treated differently, doesn't always end well. Soto does have a ring, though. So what am I looking at when Juan Soto comes to the Yankees? You're booing him? Because are you sad that he chose the Mets over you? Are you sad at Steinbrenner for not saying yes to enhancements of the family room? Give me a break. I love the fact that you have the right to boo, and you should. You want to boo, boo. It's all good. Meanwhile, your team, as you know, is in first place. You're 4 games ahead in your division. You're the only team in the AL East with a winning record at 25-18. You've got the greatest player on the planet not named Ohtani in Aaron Judge. Just a little note that everyone thinking, oh, what's Judge going to do without Soto and Stanton? Well, how about hitting .412 with 15 home runs and 41 ribbies? By the way, triple crown, leading the league in all 3. What about an OPS of 1279? Uh-oh. I feel like Judge is doing just fine with the protection he has. Soto, meanwhile, is only hitting .255 with 8 homers and 20 ribbies. OPS of 845. It's not really tremendous production for a guy who got paid $700 plus. Now, the Mets are in first place. They're 2.5 games ahead of the Phillies. They're 12 games over. But I can't imagine that anyone at this moment is saying the Yankees are worse off without Soto. I can't imagine anyone saying the Mets are World Series contenders with Soto versus without. They were World Series contenders last year. May I remind you when the Mets got eliminated last year? Now, you're going to say, David, the Yankees lost in the World Series. The Mets lost in the League Championship Series. So now if Soto goes from the Yankees to the Mets, wouldn't that mean the Mets will be in the World Series and the Yankees would lose in the Championship Series? Like there'd be a switch because of Soto. Not how it works. I have a wait to see. I don't think the Yankees actually preseason. I told you I don't know that the Yankees even win the division. I don't even have them winning a wild card. I do not think they'll be able to stand up over the course of an entire season. We're about at the quarter pole. They have outperformed at 7 games over. They are trending to be a 100-win team. I don't see this Yankee team as a 100-win team, but we will find out. The Mets are trending that way too, according to their winning percentage, and the Mets are doing it by pitching the heck out of the ball with a cast of characters that you would not have expected to perform this way, which is why baseball is the greatest sport ever, because you take a team where you just don't know what you're going to get, and then you watch the season unravel, and it's like a piece of art where at every angle it looks different, where when you gain perspective, you gain appreciation for what you've seen and the hope of what you will see. That wasn't the moment I was going to be emotional, but it felt like I could have been, because baseball, Matt, it's a James Earl Jones moment. It just has things that the other sports don't have. I'm going to carry this right into the break. After the break, we're going to talk a little bit about the Tigers, who have the best record in the American League, and we have not given our Michigan brothers enough love, because what's going on in Detroit with the erstwhile Astros manager is tremendous. We're going to review a movie, and we're going to have some follow-up and some stories. All of it before the weekend starts, and we still have about 23 minutes to go. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Nothing Personal. It's David Samson coming at you live. It is Friday, May 16th. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. Hit subscribe. We're live. This is what we do, unedited. As you know, that's how we are. It's why I make mistakes, and I really do want your corrections, and I get them every day. This was a strange day yesterday, Coca. We got 3 corrections in shows in the last 2 days, and I try not to make those types of mistakes. A shout out to all of you who send them to me at David P. Samson on Twitter, at davidsamsonpodcast.com. That's davidsamsonpodcast.com. Don't forget to come at me with your questions, corrections, subscribe on YouTube and on wherever you get your podcasts. It matters. Trust me. Couple things. I told you that yesterday or the day before, sometime this week, that the Vikings are the first team to play back-to-back international games, and I should have been more clear. The Jaguars have played back-to-back international games, but both in England. What the Vikings are doing first is playing back-to-back international games in different countries, though I could argue Ireland and London are as close as Chelsea and Tottenham, but I wouldn't, other than to say it was wrong of me to say, and sorry. I don't mind revisiting the corrections, folks. I really don't. Thank you. 2, I told you that I'm reviewing a movie next Thursday called The Way, and I can't wait to watch it this week, Coca. I'm literally busting at the seams to rewatch the Martin Sheen movie, but I said that it's on El Camino where this movie takes place, and it's Camino de Santiago. El Camino is the name of the Breaking Bad movie. It's the name of a car, for crying out loud. I have no idea why I said that, but thank you for that correction. Then one of you said, David, love the show. You got one small thing wrong when talking about the ESPN MLB PR war. The Apple deal with baseball is exclusive. No RSN side by side. I don't know how exactly I got that wrong, because, of course, there's no RSN side by side, but the amount of money they are paying per game, whether they show one game or two, is still more than what ESPN is paying. But I take that correction to heart. Thank you for it. That's what you should do because of the way we do the show. And podcasts today are a little like photoshops on the internet where you, oh, does that person look that good? I have a quick story about that, Coca. Side note, very quickly. We did a photo shoot for updated, nothing personal graphics, et cetera, et cetera. Just to, I don't want to be that guy who has his work ID and it's a picture from high school. I like people showing, yeah, this is me. When you tune in, it will look like this. And the graphics from when the show started, Coca, if we go back to those, if you could put a picture of what our open show graphics look like for nothing personal, that was done in a blazer that still fits, but that was done at CBS 5 years ago before the show even started, more than 5 years ago, actually. And so having pictures that old, I mean, listen, more hair receding and just older and face more full because more Hostess cupcakes and Twinkies and ho-hos and yodels and black jelly beans and pizza and burgers in and out. Anyway, so we don't edit. We literally go live from 8 to 8:50 in the morning, and the other podcasts can clean it up, make it look and sound better to the audience, clean up the color, clean up the make sure there's no slips or misstatements. Not us, man. Not us. So I make mistakes. All right. I'm going to segue to a movie, which I watch every day. A movie. You know that about me. A movie or a series. I'm in the middle of a bunch of series right now. Just a little update on that for a Friday. If you're looking for stuff to watch, my current shows, because I keep track, shockingly, Survivor, which is on Wednesdays, and the finale is coming up next Wednesday. The Studio, also on Wednesdays. Finale is coming up next Wednesday. Hacks, Thursdays. The finale is coming a week from next Thursday. The Last of Us, the finale is Sunday, May 25th. And Your Friends and Neighbors, that finale is Friday, May 30th. Those are the current shows I'm watching. So I do watch shows, but movies as well. I love your suggestions. Please. And whoever sent me this suggestion, I had never heard of this movie. And I don't know how you knew. Maybe because of 5 years of shows, 1,278 shows. What I'm emotional about is that someone sent to me, please watch The Ballad of Wallis Island. And I didn't know what it was. I had never heard of Tom Basden. I had never heard of Tim Key. I knew Carey Mulligan, but I had no idea what it was about. But I watched it because I have great respect for all of you. This is a movie about a folk singer who is asked to do a private gig by a rich man on an island called Wallis Island, which is an idyllic island in England. It was actually, I think, filmed in Wales. Just picture an island, a private island where there's no harbor. You can't get there. There's barely anyone living on the island. There's one store that God knows where they get their stuff from because there's no way to get boats there other than a little rowboat with a little motor on the end that has to be pulled into shore, and you got to get wet to get on it and off it like it's Survivor, for crying out loud. So it seems like a sort of bizarre movie because the background is Tim Key, who wrote this movie and starred in it, playing the guy who invited the former rock star to play a concert on this island. It turns out that the gig was a private gig for one man, for this rich man who won the lottery and wanted to spend his money to hear his favorite band play and paid for the band the way people pay Bieber to go to Saudi Arabia for a 30th birthday party, that type of stuff. Tim Key is brilliant. He plays a character that is 50% annoying but charming, 50% lovable and brilliant. Absolutely no emotional intelligence, so I could relate to him. Totally awkward, which I can't relate to. But the thing of the story is that Tom Basden, who co-wrote this with Tim Key from a short story that Tim Key had written, co-wrote the screenplay. Tom Basden plays the former folk singer who comes to the island and typically would not be happy to find out he's on a private island with plumbing that stinks, and the gig is for one man who looks a little creepy at first and acts a little creepy at first. And once you know it, here comes Carey Mulligan, his former partner and former lover. The story of how this works, I know that you all believe in me. I do. And I feel it every day. Please watch Ballad of Wallis Island, just as a favor to me. I love when you watch my top 100 movies. I'm not convinced, Coco, when I make my list again, that this movie will not go into my top 100. The way that it felt watching it, it's everything I want in a movie. Thank you, Tim Key and Tom Basden. All right, Coca, play me some music, please.
You know what I want? I want to talk to Samson.
Important part of the show. This is the part where you say, hey, are you baked? And Coca, it would shock you the number of people who watch and listen to our show who are baked, and I dig it. If you are half-baked or you like a movie where you can laugh, not half-baked too, not good. Double-baked, out. Half-baked in character, Samson. You want to talk to him? You can do it. In the past, you have been critical of the Tigers' Javy Baez. That's true. The whole contract that he signed was outrageous, and you didn't even say hello to me. I don't know if I want to do this question, Coca. All right. No, of course I do. Last night, so it must be from 2 days ago, he hit the game-winning 3-run home run in the bottom of the 11th, his second 3-run homer of the game, and he's batting .309. What do you account for this drastic improvement over the previous seasons? And did you ever see that in your time with the Marlins? Love the show. Well, you just redeemed yourself. However, I do like the hello Davids before your questions. Keep the questions coming. We are so close to Wednesday, June 4th. Spoiler alert. Nope, no spoiler. Let's talk about Javy Baez, because you're right, whoever asked this question. I told you when the Cubs got rid of Rizzo, Baez, and Bryant, and all of you went crazy. They're breaking up the World Series team from 2016. And I said, that's true. They're getting rid of 3 guys who stink because they don't want to overpay them. And you should want your GM to get rid of players a year too early instead of a year too late, or sign contracts because they're emotional because of you. That becomes Devers. So Javy Baez got a sucker in the Detroit Tigers to sign him to this crazy contract. And what I didn't really understand about it is that the Tigers were not in a position to be good, though they had an opportunity. They had some good young players, but they had to wait for my guy, Miguel Cabrera, to age out of his contract, which he's done. And now the Tigers are rolling. And Javy Baez is a huge part of that. Now, it's true. This is year 4 of Baez's 6-year, $140 million contract. So the first 3, not good. The first 3, negative WAR. He was hitting barely above 200. Stunk. But this year, his WAR is almost 2 just for this year. He's already got 5 home runs, 27 RBIs. He's playing center field this year. But what's crazier than anything is listen to what AJ Hinch said about him.
I am so happy for that guy. I don't know if he's going to tell you how important it is to him. I don't know if he's going to tell you how much it means to him, but I know it does. And our whole team explodes, not just because we win, and not just how we win, but the fact that Javy's right in the middle of it is so awesome for this team and for Javy himself. I mean, he's all in. You know, I mean, we ask our guys to be all in, and here's a guy who has been through a lot in his time here and continues to battle, continues to fight, continues to try.
This is a classic example of a manager having the back of his player, because almost every part of that statement was total horse hockey. Because Javy Baez was not exactly the perfect teammate over the first 3 years of this contract. And there are players who, when they're performing well, are better. And there's players, when they're performing badly, are still good. Or there's players who are bad when they're performing badly and also bad when they're performing well. Those are just called turds in the clubhouse. I get what AJ Hinch is doing here because he's a really good manager, notwithstanding garbage can banging, which obviously he was a part of, suspended, fired, and then hired by the Tigers. It was never a question of, is he a good manager? It's sort of like there are coaches in the NBA who get fired for behavior. They get rehired. Hey, they're still good coaches. They just have horrific behavior tendencies. The thing about that sort of soundbite about Javy Baez is he's not talking to the fans or to the media there. He's actually talking to his teammates. He's talking to his clubhouse. He's saying to the clubhouse, listen, we've got an opportunity here to do something. We are 3.5 games up. We are 29-15 with the best record in the American League. We're all about trying to get to the postseason, trying to get to the World Series, trying to get a ring for the first time. Tell me, Coca, have they won since 1984? It's 40 years ago. Obviously, that was off the back of my head, and a correction could be coming. I believe that was the Jack Morris years when he was a Tiger, but that doesn't sound right either. My brain is telling me weird things on a Friday. It is 84. Yes! Give me a cognitive test right now. Right now. That is an elephant. Okay, good. A, B, C, D. Oh, no, I don't need to do the alphabet. Can you imagine that's the cognitive test? Hi, I'm the President of the United States. I know the alphabet. Where were we? Javy Baez. Do you know the Twins have won 11 games in that division, and they're still only 24-20 and in 4th place of that division? Would you imagine that the American League Central is better than the American League East when everybody's above 500 except for the White Sox, and the American League East, no one's above 500 except for the Yankees? Baseball's the greatest. Where do I end with Javy Baez? Do I think he can end this season hitting over 300? Man, that's going to be harder than you think. Hitting 300, very few players do it. That's like MVP vote style stuff. Do the Tigers have what it takes to win the division? Yeah, I think I probably picked them to win their division. Or I may have picked Kansas City. I don't remember who I picked, Coca, but you do. I just want to say that AJ Hinch, you're really smart for giving us that sound on Baez. It's your best hope to keep him performing. But by the way, side note, there is nothing he can do for this Tigers team for the next 3 years that will make the 6-year 140 at all palatable. Now, you win a ring, you get some jewelry, you say to yourself, it's the cost of doing business. But man, what an overpay that was. Overpay. That is a word that you should avoid if you can during the course of your life. A lot of people are not at all sophisticated with money or value. They overpay for assets all the time. And there are certain people, like if you have a brilliant eye for art and you can overpay a bid, an estimate in an auction because you know the art is actually worth more than what you are paying, or that it's going to increase in value more so than other assets. There are examples where overpaying does not mean you are paying over value. Overpaying means that you are paying over an estimate. You're paying more than what someone asks. So if someone asks their house, you're trying to buy a house. It's a great example. And they're asking $500,000 for it. And you pay $600,000. You would say, wow, you've overpaid for that house. They only wanted $500,000. You walked in with $600,000. Guess what? If you know that what you're doing to the house because of your vision makes that house worth $700,000, then you did well. Owning a sports team is a classic example where people say, wow, that feels like an overpay. And it turns out it never is, because teams and their values continue to go up as long as they're not the Marlins. I didn't mean to do that to you, Derek and Bruce. I did not. But I just reminding you, your team is worth less now than it was in 2017. I'm sorry. Once in a while, I like to bring me my flowers. That feels like I use that expression wrong. Do you bring me my whatever? The Niners. Have you watched what's going on in football? Have you seen some of these transactions? It's crazy. Like Strahan, the guy in Good Morning America, the guy who used to play for the Giants, the guy who's everywhere, Michael Strahan, he's interviewing people. Have you read that he's trying to buy with a group 10% of the Giants, his former team? Oh, and Eli Manning is too. Have you read about these teams who have sold percentages to foreign investment or to private equity firms? We did segment upon segment for this. What the San Francisco 49ers did yesterday is not that. They are selling 6% of their team to a bunch of people. And what's crazy about it is that they found a way to take money off the table without bringing in PE money, without bringing in foreign money. They found a bunch of families who were like, this seems like a great idea. And they did it at a value of $8.5 billion. It knocked my socks off. Because while I don't pay attention to Forbes at all, Sportico, they all come up with valuations to franchises based on information they think they have, which they don't, all of which is fine. They valued the Niners at about $6.5 billion. What I've always told the audience, because I respect you, is that nobody knows what a team is worth because it doesn't trade on normal earnings multiples, EBITDA multiples, revenue multiples. You cannot assign a value to an asset that isn't tracked as part of an asset class. I can't tell you, oh, gold, you've got it wrong. No, there's a price for gold. That's what gold's worth. You can believe it's going up or down. That's up to you. When there's a market that exists, that's the perfect market. I would argue that in sports, there is no perfect market because there's always the next perfect fool. And you just can't be the last idiot. In theory, you're buying at a value of $8.5 billion. You feel like, hey, there's upside here. This team could be worth $10 billion, $20 billion in 15 years. I don't need the exact return of an indexed S&P fund because I get to be a limited partner and I get to go to dinner parties and say that I own the San Francisco 49ers. Can you imagine the York family, who owns a good part of the Niners, gets to take this amount of money off the table? Just do the quick math. If you sell 10% on a valuation of $8.5 billion, you'd agree, I think we can all agree, that'd be $850 million. Are you with me on the math? 5% would be half of $850 million. Are you with me? That's $425 million. Let's just round it and say it's $450 million that the Giants are raising, whether it's to invest in real estate, whether it's to pay off debt they have, whether it's to buy another yacht, whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter what you're told. It only matters what is. And the fact of the matter is you are trying to take money off the table the way people who own concentrated equity positions of stocks are taking money off the table. It doesn't make sense to have all your money in one stock. It doesn't make sense to have all your money in a team when the team is worth that much money. So what do? You start selling shares. We all get critical. Oh my God, why is Zuckerberg selling shares of Meta? Or why sell shares of Tesla? Because what idiot would have all the money in one thing? Think about it. Teams are looking to sell limited partner shares in order to get money off the table. A report came out yesterday that Charles Woodson wants to buy 0.1% of the Browns. That'll be a funny one. 0.1%. It's a lot of paperwork to fill out, but you do get to say you own a team. If the owners are put in front of them a deal that values the Niners at $8.5 billion, they're going to say yes so fast your head will spin. Remember, the Eagles just sold part of their team. Jeffrey Lurie took money off the table. He sold 8%, and the value of the franchise there was 8.3. It's not a coincidence. It means it's going higher. 8.3, 8.5. It's what commissioners want and owners want. They want each announced franchise sale of one of the jewel franchises to show increases, because that shows health. That means that your business is booming and humming along. Are there exceptions when a bottom of the order sells? Yeah, you still want that number to be higher than the bottom. You're always looking for incremental increases in the value of all of your assets, because it shows that you know what you're doing. So when the Niners are offering 6% at this number, Roger Goodell says, hell yeah, it's just business. Have a great weekend. We'll be back Monday. This is nothing personal.